Hi everyone, my name is Cheryl and this is my Happy Handcraft Studio. Welcome. It's a great spring day. You can tell it's spring in the foothills of Alberta. The Bobcat, which is a piece of machinery, was here this week to break down our large drifts of snow or the snowplow piles that were along our road, and these were taken down so that we don't still have snow there in July. So that's great. You can probably see those little red sticks showing up. That marks the edge of our property so that the plow knows where the driveway ends and the grass begins. Second sign of spring, we had news reports that the first bears are being sighted in Banff coming out of hibernation. So that's exciting. We have to be careful now, just who could be visiting near our houses. And potholes. Potholes are those small to large craters in our roads caused by the freezing and thawing that happens when you live in colder climates. So it's spring. It snowed last night about 1.5 inches, I would guess. So that's spring in Alberta. We are expecting like plus 15 to 17 by the weekend, so by next weekend. So I think we really say a lot around here that we'll believe it when we see it. So we have something to look forward to. I hope you are all well. So it's been great. I've been really busy as always with all kinds of stitching and knitting and crocheting, quilting and reading, charity work. There's no time to just worry about what to do. There's always a list, which is great. So first I'm going to show my fully finished objects. And I love them. I'm really quite excited to have them done. And this is two of my Oology eggs completed. These are from Satsuma Street. Now you can't really tell, but I did stitch them on 28 count light blue cashel using the called for DMCs. I've left the ribbons just loose for now until I decide how I'm actually going to display these eggs. I'm just leaving lots of length of ribbon. There's 2 more to do. I have 1 more that I've already started, and then 1 more to start and finish. But it's great for this time of year, the nice spring colors. They're great. So I had a great stitching month, although I know I stitched a lot less than usual, but I still stitched over 7,000 stitches, so that's really pretty good. I'm going to show you kind of in order of the amount of stitching that I did, the projects. I think I worked on 14 projects this month. I have 20 projects right now on the go. I have 20 whips, and I did work on 14 of them this month. So the first one where I got over 1,000 stitches was Changing Seasons. Fox and Rabbit Mystery Cell 2022. This is on a 32 count Belfast natural. And for this, I chose my own colors. And so now what I'm working on is this huge border that goes around the piece that's 360 by 360. So there's a lot more stitching, but it's it's lovely stitching. You know, you can easily get 300 to 400 stitches a night if you were really kind of dedicated to it. So I'm really looking forward to that one. And then the next stitch that I did quite a bit on, and I was working over in this corner. This is Hoity Toity by Long Dog Sampler. And this is a 32 count antique white Lugana, and I'm using the called for DMC. Next project that I put a few stitches into, this is Garden Sampler. This is Herscheners pattern that's free. The fabric is a 28 count tea-dyed Irish linen, and I'm using conversion DMC from the Valdani that was listed on the pattern. And I'm getting really close to the end. There is a row of alphabet and then some specialty stitches at the bottom, and it'll be done. I did 638 stitches in Queen Elizabeth II in Her Coronation Dress. And those stitches were mainly down in this area and up there. So she's coming along. Sorry, she is also on a 28 count Vintage Blue Cashel. I really do love that color for linen. I've been working on my Santas, Prairie Schooler Santas, and actually I've worked on all three. I put about 500 stitches into the 2006. And then I also put in almost 200 into the 2010. So those are coming along. Earlier in the month, I had also worked on this one. But these are since I've spoken to you last. So they're coming. I put just over 400 stitches into Remember November by MarNic Designs. This is on a 28 count white Monaco using the called for stitches. It takes a lot of time to put stitches into this because there's a lot of quarter stitches, but you know, the shading is beautiful. So I'm pretty much finished this way, working my way across. I think, I'm not sure when I'll do the back stitch. I don't mind back stitch, so I don't mind if I have a lot to do at the end. And since it's on like a Q-snap, I think I might wait till the end so that I don't damage any of the back stitch. And 'tis the season. I'm getting tired of 'tis the season. It's not the season anymore. But I don't have much done, so, or I don't have much left to do. So it's this, and I have 2 more sets of holly leaves to go down the side. And then that one will be completed. Again, this is an easy stitch. Like if in my challenges I need to put a lot of stitches in for something, well, this works great because you have these big blocks of color where you can just stitch away, which is great. This is on a 28 count even weave in the color Mushroom. This was a vintage linen I picked up and it was from MCG Textiles, using the called for DMC. If you're ever curious about name of the pattern, designer, the fabric I used, the threads that I used, I list all of that below in the description box, so you can find it there. If you have any other questions, leave it in the comments. I'd be happy to answer. And then my January 1st start, Kingdom of Books, I put 236 stitches into this. There's a lot of stitching in this project. I found out about Kingdom of Books from Brenda, the handwork maniac, and loved it. Love how she's working on it. And she talks about how her and a friend do half a book a month. That is a lot of stitching, I'm coming to realize. I haven't got to the books parts yet, but this is also not really a priority for 2023. I just want to put some stitches in it throughout the year. Next year it'll be a priority to get it done. This is on a 32 count Belfast linen in mocha, and it has kind of a printed texture on it, and I chose this one to kind of mimic the wood shelving behind the books. Now, because I had all my goals done for March, I was able to finally go to my tiny decision wheel and choose some things that I've just started since New Year's Eve and the 1st of January. And another one I got to work on that I really enjoyed was from Doreen Jones, Merry Christmas. And I had just a tiny start up here, like maybe like 100 stitches. And so I was able to continue the border. And again, this is kind of finicky. It's a few stitches here, a few stitches there, but it's really showing up nicely on this linen. And I know that as soon as I can work my way across, there are going to be some big blocks of color. So I can work on a big block, I can work on the border, work on a big block, work on the border. So I'm really wanting that one to come again. Oh, yes, this is on an unknown khaki even weave that I think I counted was a 16 count, 32 count. I'm not sure how you would say that, 32 count even weave. It would have been a piece of fabric that I'd found at a vintage sale. And then the last piece, again from my New Year's Eve start. This is Christmas Snow Globe. I'll show you the little picture as well. So Christmas Snow Globe. And this one is on, again, a linen that I picked up at our fabric and yarn sale. This is from Permian of Copenhagen, and it's a 28 count. It's a beautiful blue color. So that was my stitching. I touched a lot of different projects. So April, it's April, and I have goals. If you've watched me for a while, you know I have goals. And I have goals that I let other people pick, it seems. So first of all, WIPGO. I have 2 projects in WIPGO. Both of these I want to put 500 stitches into. So the first one is Changing Seasons, so 500 stitches there, and Hoity Toity. Now I made up my WIPGO board a little bit differently this year. I put a prompt rather than a specific project. So I can basically decide which project I want to work on if it fits the prompt. And the first prompt, number 5, for me was with words. So my changing seasons has words. It has spring, summer, fall, winter on there. So that works. And then my other one, number 17, had to have birds in it. And so that I'm using Hoity Toity. I'm always trying to focus on my projects from 2022. I want to get those completed first. Like that's my priority. I also have my monthly challenges. So I have my Queen Elizabeth II in her coronation dress. I work on her on the 6th of the month and the 21st of the month. And then I have my Remember November that I work on the 11th of each month. I also take part in a lot of semi-sane challenges. So semi-sane is a Facebook group that has challenges. So the 2 that I'm working on this time, the first one is Choose My Whip. So for this, you put up 2 or 3 of your whips and you let other followers decide which one you're going to focus on. And for the week, you have to put in at least 500 stitches. So because I want to get changing seasons and hoity-toity, I want to get lots of stitches in those, I put them up against each other. What's your guess for which one people chose? Changing seasons. I'm happy. That's a great way to put a lot of stitches in. And I'm also doing the challenge Wordle. So Wordle is a word game. If you're not doing Wordle and you like words, you need to do that. I'm not sure if it's an app or if it's a website. I just have it linked to my iPad desktop. And you're choosing letters to guess words. And you try to guess what word it is within so many choices. And so that's what I'm going to be doing in semi-sane. To put the first guess down, you have to stitch 500 stitches. And to get your next, to get your clue looked at, you need another 500 stitches. So there's going to be a lot of stitching in that, which is fine. I mean, this is a great time to put a lot of stitches into changing seasons, hoity-toity, 'tis the season, kind of get them done. So that's exciting. I also, as a mini goal on semi-sane, I want to put another 300 stitches into Garden Sampler. So, and really, in my mind, I want Garden Sampler done. Like, it would be great if in April that one was complete. And so, that's April. It looks great. I might have a birthday start. And so for that, I'm going to now show you just a few of my purchases. I'm not big on having purchases, but I have a few this time. So birthday start. I'm going to work on Simplicity Vintage. So, I've been sewing since I was a kid, and my mother did a lot of sewing. Our home was filled with all of these vintage patterns, and I like the pretty ladies idea, but I have to have a place to put them, and I think this will look great here in my sewing studio. So I'm excited to start working on that one. Everything is in the kit, and pretty colors. And this is a 14 count white Ada. So I'm thinking that this could be the project that I start working on at stitching at the library with the City Stitcher. and all of our friends, our stitching friends. Because I don't want to take magnification there, so I think this could be a good place to go. So, stitching at the library, April 15th, 9:30 to 12:30 at the Signal Hill Library in Calgary, Alberta. So if you live near and you think you could come for a visit, that would be great. It's a drop-in. We never know who's coming. We're always excited to see each and every person that comes. So check us out. And you can really check us out because the wall that separates us from the library is glass. So you can walk by a couple of times and just see if you think you're interested. And then, of course, you're going to come because you love stitching. So, okay, other purchases. Well, for these other purchases, I really need to thank my personal shopper. So Judy, the City Stitcher, is an expert in cross stitch. She knows every designer. She knows all of the dyers, the flosses. She has been keeping track for years on all of these different designers and patterns that are released. And it is a real interest of hers to keep up to date on what's coming out. So she is an invaluable source. So I mentioned to Judy Coronation Sal. So what should we do for Coronation Sal? And so she sent me a couple of suggestions, and I haven't kitted it up. It's not yet for sure, but I'm thinking that this emblem from Wilm's company that I picked up on Etsy will be my choice for May 6th. So that's getting really close. That's great. I think I'm going to do it in the pink and red. The last time I talked to Judy, I said, I think I'm going to do it in red and white because, Canada's colors are red and white. But I like pink. So I think I'm going to do it with the pink. So, thanks, Judy. And on the pink theme, I'm not a big house stitcher, but I think I'd like a pink house. And so, Judy's suggestion was Every Day is a Blessing by Stitches Through the Years. I love it. I like the pink house, but I really like the Every Day is a Blessing. That really spoke to me. So, my personal shopper, 2 out of 2. That's really great. All right, so that is the stitching part. I want to talk to you about the fabric and yarn sale that is coming up in Calgary, Alberta. So I belong to a charity. If you have followed me, you know I talk about the Ujamagrammas all the time. We are a group of people who support the African grandmothers who are looking after their orphan grandchildren. And through the Stephen Lewis Foundation, we help to provide tuition, school supplies, school uniforms, health resources, microbanking, anything that will strengthen the lives of the African grandmothers so they can better support their grandchildren and support their communities. This is a grassroots charity. In other words, our directors go to Africa and ask the communities, what is it that you need to better support these women and these children? and programs are developed based on those needs. So we have fundraisers throughout the year. You've heard me talk about Bags, Babies, and Beyond, where we have handcraft sale in October. You've heard me talk about the Ujamaa Baguettes, where we design bag patterns and sell them so that all of the proceeds go to the charity. Well, in the spring of the year, we have the fabric and yarn sale. It is astounding. Like, it is every year. It's hard to believe that there's actually that much yarn, fabric, quilt cottons, craft materials, patterns, notions, books, sewing machines, looms, quilt frames every year to sell. Like, you would think there would have to be a bottom somewhere. But if you look at your own cross-stitch supply, is there ever a bottom? It just keeps coming. And so we are a month away from this sale. And for the volunteers who are organizing it, we've started. You know, we have the facility, we have storage houses filled with materials. To my friends, I call it zucchini season. I have to lock my car or people will fill it with yarn and fabric and notions and beads. Like, it is just, it's amazing the generosity of our friends and family that they give us so many things to put into our sale. I'm at the point now, I live out in the country. I have to actually think, how many trips will it take me in to actually deliver all of the wonderful things we have for the sale. So I'll put up the announcement for the sale here on the side and just talk a little bit about it. So the sale starts on a Friday, May the 5th, and it goes from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then we have it again Saturday, May 6th from 10 to 4, and Sunday, May 7th from 10 to 4. It's at the Garrison Curling Club in Calgary, Alberta. So that's a really big, bright facility with parking right nearby. For admission, it is $2 to come in. On the Friday, you need to reserve a spot to come in. And we do that through Eventbrite. And tickets, April the 2nd, so that is today. I think they went on at 12 a.m. this morning. So why do we do it? Before we just let people line up, and people would line up 6 hours ahead of time in Calgary's weather, which sometimes ended up being snowstorms. It was in a neighborhood where, you know, the parking was terrible. With COVID, we couldn't do that, and so we went to Eventbrite with staggered entry, and it was just a much pleasant buying experience for our customers and for our volunteers. I mean, we had to count so that, you know, we didn't exceed fire limits. So that's not a pleasant way to be selling things. So there is, on only the Friday, you need a ticket to come in. After that, the Saturday and Sunday, you just come whenever you want to come. $2 at the door. The $2 helps to pay for the facility. In the past, in the last couple of years, we had a free facility that had no parking, which it was free, but it was a pain for our customers. And we've, since the charity that we were with has lost the the facility. So we needed to find something, and we found a great site, we're hoping. A lot of people are worried about not being there the first day. In the quilt room, we didn't actually get some of our fabric out until the Sunday morning because we just had so much and it took so long to get it rolled and priced. So don't let the idea of it all being gone worry you. I look at it as an archaeological dig. When you come on Friday, you'll see the top surface. Sorry, I needed a little water break there. So, first day, you see the top layer. Second day, oh, more treasures. And last day, oh, I never saw that before. You know, customers often will come and take things and move them around, and so they're all back in their place. The only thing that we ever really get low on is yarn, because our prices are just so amazing that the yarn can disappear the first day, some of the better quality yarns, but there can still, I mean, the thing about this charity is we never know what we're going to get. This year we have an astounding array of jewelry, jewelry making supplies, beads, findings, you know, that kind of thing. Like, it's like a jewelry store closeout inventory. That's kind of what we have. We never know what's going to come through the door. And so we don't know if we'll have one sewing machine to sell or 20 sewing machines to sell. We might have a knitting machine, we might not. Like, it's a treasure hunt. So if you like a treasure hunt, you need to be sure to come. There's more information on the Ujamagramma website, which I will link below, and on the Ujamagramma Facebook page. So if you're local, we would love to see you. And I will be in the quilt room. The quilt room is my project, one of my projects, and I will be there like almost every day, probably. And if you come, please, you know, say hello. I would love to meet you. Yes, there are cross-stitch supplies. A lot of the linens that I've been showing you, if I say vintage or I'm not sure where they came from the fabric and yarn sale. So, heads up on that. All right. So, what else have I been working on? Well, I have my temperature blanket, which is coming along. It's now this wide, or this long, I guess. It's this long. And this is the sage green. At the end, this is the temperature, like above +5, +6. So we've had 2 days of that. So it's great. It's nice to have this every morning to work on. But I really, you know, it's been a long time since we've had a new color. Like the warmest color, sage, we had in January. And now we have it here. Like January was nice. March, you know, like another sign of spring. When I go out to my quilt guild at Millerville, I drive by a slough that always has snowbirds on it, you know, when snowbirds are going back and forth. When I drove by on Saturday, there were a bunch of birds standing on the ice, looking very disgusted. And I understood that perfectly. I felt the same way. So, now, my personal shopper, Judy, she didn't suggest I buy this. She just showed me her crochet blanket that she's working on. And I thought, oh, I really like that variegated yarn with those other colors with it. And so even though she didn't actually choose my yarn for me, I have some new crochet supplies. And you know, if you're going to purchase new yarn, maybe you should have a new fancy crochet hook. I didn't need this one, but I thought I would try it because, you know, you really need to be careful that you don't strain, you know, your hand with another kind of a crochet hook. So maybe this one will help that out. So I am working on a plan for this, but I've got a lot on right now, so it won't be for a while. So yes, I've had things on. I've really spent a lot of time on this project, which I'm just giving you a glimpse of. I'm at the final binding part for this quilt, with maybe a few embellishments. I haven't quite decided that yet. Our local historic village, Heritage Park, has a festival of quilts in May, and I have entered this one in the orange and white category. I also entered my snowflake quilt that you've seen in the past, so I'm excited. It's my first time I've ever entered, and more, I'm all about promoting handcrafts. I love handcrafts. Handcrafts have made such a huge impact in my life. The clothes I wear, the way my house is decorated, the friends I have, the charities I belong to, what I watch every day has been so determined by my handcraft love. So I want to spread it. I want to spread the love of handcrafts. All right. Just looking to see. Last thing is a book review, and I'm reading a really good one right now that you can expect next time. This one, like, I have to start writing down where do I find these books, because it's not a book type I would normally read. It's called Kakea. Kakea is a retelling of Indian mythology about, I guess there was this ancient epic poem called Ramayana. I'm not sure about the pronunciation there. Ramayana. We call it Rama. And it's a retelling from Kakea's sort of viewpoint, or her life in this saga. I mean, it's timeless. It's a modern book. It was written by Vaishnavi Patel, highly rated through the New York Times and on Goodreads. It is the story of the only daughter of the king of Kakea. And she watches her father banish her mother from the kingdom. And the beginning of the book is about, okay, it's time to get you married. You're 16. We need alliances with other kingdoms. No, you're not going to have a choice. This is who you are going to be married to. This will be our alliance. And so we learn about her marriage. We learn about her relationships with her husband's other wives, the children, and how the family blends and how these children grow. But it is really a story about a woman's growth and how Kakea decide what she does for her kingdom and for the women of her area, her country, her kingdom, to live a better life. It's fascinating. It is a very interesting read. You know, we're used to Greek mythology. We don't know a lot about Indian mythology. And so this was great. If this author would write more books based on this mythology, I'd be there. I always like how people can take stories from the past and retell them and make them current for us. It was a great book. All right. So, handcrafts, if you've been around this long, what has been the biggest benefit for you that you started in handcrafts? How has it made your life better? I'd be really interested. It's something I've been thinking a lot about lately. Just the power of handcrafts. Think about it. I'll be back next time with more information. All right. Thanks, everyone. It's always great to be with you. See you next time. Bye-bye.